Now I
Okay,
can hear you. Yeah.
I'll take it from the top. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dominic Davis, and today I'll be doing a presentation on the latest cybersecurity technologies. Cyber war continues to be a heat in the IT industry, especially due to information technology's dynamic nature, with a rising number of attacks on critical infrastructures and key installations such as healthcare, power grids, and the water systems. Moreover, there's an increase in the number of ransomware attacks on the networks and systems of small enterprises. Behavioral analytics is essentially the analysis of event raw data that users generate during their sessions, which provides new insights into consumer behavior on e-commerce sites, social media, online games, and the Internet of Things. The analysis of consumer behavior in such applications focuses on understanding how users act on platforms in an attempt to explain why they act in such a manner. The analysis helps determine the consumer's behavior and the future. There has been an increasing deployment of behavioral analytics in cybersecurity. This software tool can detect data patterns that a network transmit abnormally. The analytics tool detects such anomalies and immediately alerts the IT security managers who will stop the anomaly or cyber attack and process. Organizations today use behavioral analytics to detect such intrusions that threaten to evade conventional preventative security mechanisms such as firewalls and antivirus software. A good and efficient behavioral analytic tool for cybersecurity must build a baseline behavior over time for normal activity and be able to display such results in a comprehensible manner, as well as alert the security teams of any abnormal behavior. Blockchain technology essentially creates a new type of internet by allowing the distribution of digital information without copying. The blocks of data it carries is very secure and is bound to each other through the cryptographic principles, making it a chain. Every technology built upon the blockchain every technology built upon the blockchain series is ideally very transparent in its nature, and everyone on the chain is fully accountable for their actions. Blockchain technology has many benefits in the cybersecurity field, especially since almost all industries are now moving to the Industry 4.0 to make use of IoT systems, machine learning, and the cloud. Blockchain technology represents a very innovative approach to cybersecurity today by allowing the development of systems whose key feature is security by design. This approach is effective because it will enable decentralization as its crucial concept, the proper distribution of system, eliminating the concept of a single failure or breach. If hackers are to create significant damage to the system, they must attack multiple chains simultaneously. Blockchain technology represents anti-tampering, meaning that each block in the chain contains the next block's cryptographic reference. As the number of structures in the chain grows, it becomes harder for a hacker to take control. The zero trust model is an approach to cybersecurity which centers on the belief that organizations must never trust anything transmitting through their networks, whether internally or externally. Therefore, it would be essential to verify anything that attempts to connect to its systems before granting access. The zero trust model approach centers on cutting off any access onto the network until verification of the user occurs and determining whether they have the appropriate authorization. Ideally, this means that only users with the appropriate authorization and authentication can access applications and critical data in the organization's network.
You got 1 minute.
Yes. Organizations today are embracing the zero trust model approach to cybersecurity, especially because the modern workforce for many companies is increasingly on the move and access for key applications becomes necessary when on the field. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good. All right. Let me try pausing this. I'm recording. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. This is Vile, and I will do a little presentation here about TrigBot. So what is TrigBot? It's a Trojan that emerged in 2016, and since then, it has spread like wildfire and really got big, and now it's essentially a botnet, which is a network of hijacked computers, just like carrying out various scams and cyber attacks. It's like a really big source of ransomware and fraud. Of course, distributed via spam emails mostly, and operated by a criminal group. which is the funny thing is that they are constantly updating it. So it's able to like really get advanced. And recently, which was earlier this October, there was this test version going around of the TrickBot password stealing module, which is a file grabber DLL. And the funny thing is that once loaded, it would display like in your default browser warning message. Normally that obviously wouldn't happen. So how does it work? The TrickBot. Here's a little timeline. You can see how it progresses from email, then infecting more machines, and finally just becoming this huge thing. Like when installed, the malware program will obviously run quietly in the background while doing all of these other things without you knowing. And this malware will steal Active Directory service database, harvest browser passwords, cookies, open SSH keys, and just spread throughout the network. Here's a little extracted like document from a screenshot. And here you can really see like all the browsers like Firefox, Chrome, Edge. All of these will be harvested, all of these credentials and cookies. So yeah, what I'm saying is that TrickBot has really, really evolved over the years. And by 2018, it became like a loader essentially of malware. And now it even has penetration testers tools incorporated in it, which the tools that are used by penetration testers like Mimikatz and CobbleStrike.
1 minute.
Okay, so this is a little map here for you to see the targeted URLs. And I want to end with this note that there were attempted botnet disruptions recently. Earlier again this October was Microsoft and other collaborators. They took down like 94% of it, the bots, but they weren't like able to destroy the infrastructure. So it's still unfortunately intact, and we still do not know the responsible people. All right, that's it.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Alan, and today I'll be doing a presentation on AWS Identity and Access Management. So, what is IAM? Well, IAM consists of users, groups, roles, and policies. With users, it's just an entity that represents a person or service. A group is a collective of users. And as for role, these are temporary credentials that is assumed by users. And if you look at this diagram, there are policies that you can apply to users, groups, and roles. Now I'm going to do a technical presentation on how to set up a user. So I've logged into my AWS console, and I click on services. And I go to IAM. And here you can see on my dashboard, this URL, it's important. You could edit it, where you could, so this is useful for when the IAM user wants to log in. And we're gonna be using this, this word right here. So I go to users. You see here, I already have a user, but we're gonna click add user. And just create a user called Ken. And there are many different access types. There's programmatic access, and there's AWS Management Console access. But we're gonna click on this. I'll do a custom password. We don't wanna require password reset adds a bit of a hassle. So let's make up a password. Let me make sure. Alright. The reason why I wasn't able to make a password because I had a password policy that requires me to have a complex password. So in the beginning, you won't be able to see these groups here. So you're just gonna go click create group. Let's give it administrative access. And you can see here under JSON. So you have the version, the statement, and the effect. The effect means you're given this ability to do a lot of stuff. You're allowed to do action and resource. And this wildcard basically means you could do anything and access any resource. So let's create group. Oh, let's do hi. Next tag. And you could give it department. This is basically to identify, where the user is at. Review and create user. And now we have the user. And now we just log out so we could access the user can. And we go to our, remember this, that URL thing? So I had dice, and then we do can, and we log in with the password. And there you have it. That's our presentation. Thank you, guys.
Great. Thank you. Paul, go ahead.
All right, so today I wanted to talk about the Internet of Things. So what is it? Well, it's basically smart devices, devices that are connected to the internet and that can control the home, control your house, your car, etc. You can basically connect to them via an app that allows you customized control, and you can connect to that app via like Wi-Fi, cellular, Bluetooth, etc. Now, you don't technically need them. Usually, there might be a button that will let you turn the device on and off, but normally people will download the app, the specific app developed by the company that made it, so that they can get access to like a lot more different options to customize their device. The most convenient feature is obviously you can manage all the stuff on the go. You don't have to sit down in front of a computer or anything. As long as you have your app, your phone in the app, you can just control it from there. And then that brings us to the benefits of the devices. Hands-free control, like I mentioned. Recently, there have also been things like Alexa and smart speakers and stuff where you can actually control the smart device through your voice. And the companies, they continuously, since it's all software based for the most part, companies continuously release software updates that give you more control over your devices and even potentially add new features. The only time when you would have to buy a brand new device is if they made hardware level changes that cannot be imitated via software. And then there's also the business side of things. Some people, they use garbage information because they don't want their personal information being given, and that's perfectly fine. But most people, they just give their basic information like their name, address, what they like, and all that stuff. And for a business, that helps them fine tune their services and products. If they see a customer using a product a certain way, that's basically a new avenue for additional revenue that they could use. So so both consumer and business, they both benefit in some ways, kind of like a tug and pull. Give up some things, get some things in return. However, there are disadvantages to smart devices, and I guess they're more numerous on the consumer side, but they make more of an impact on the business side. For example, for consumer, an over reliance on technology is technically a good or bad thing depending upon your situation. If you rely purely on technology, when the electricity goes off or your internet dies down, you're suddenly cut off from all the important things in your life. But if you use technology to basically enhance your life, when that access is cut off, it doesn't really affect you as much. There are also privacy issues, like I mentioned before. When you give up all that information to get all those benefits, you're kind of inviting like telemarketers and other additional advertisement for other products that you may or may not want. And then smart devices, they also basically serve as an attack vector for hackers. Since you can't really put like antivirus on a smart device, or it's really difficult, it's much easier to attack a smart device than it is like your computer. So if that somehow gets intruded into, it's much more difficult to clean it. The last case scenario obviously be just to unplug it entirely to stop the flow of any attacks.
1 minute.
And so that leads me to my final point. I personally, I think it's better to, instead of seeing it as good versus bad, it's more of a risk versus reward type of situation. Reward would be, what do you get in return? So your life becomes more convenient. All the algorithms that power the app, when you use it, it's feeding that information into the algorithm, so it can provide a more customized experience for you. And of course, for those who just like to use all the latest technology, all of these smart devices are getting more and more advanced over time. However, the bad stuff that I see more like as a risk, or what you give up, the input, you could potentially get infiltrated by hackers, like I mentioned before, if you don't maintain good security practices. And you have to, and naturally, the more information you give, the more whoever is managing these products or whoever infiltrates your networks will know about you, and that may or may not be a bad thing to you. And this is a bit of it's not really that much of a stretch, but you kind of move towards this Big Brother type of future, where you're giving up all this stuff, and you have like this authoritative figure that's basically watching you through all these smart devices. So that's basically something that you have to take into consideration when you get a smart device. Is it worth? Is everything that you're getting in return, is it worth what you're giving up? So that concludes my presentation. Thank you.